Hello folks, welcome to OTD, also known as On the Deck, where you can get all the sports you need in 10 minutes. My name is Adam Orduna. This is my mom, Gina.
He is the journalist.
She's the enthusiast.
I'm enthusiastic because it's Friday, and we normally shoot on Thursdays.
Correct.
But it rained us out yesterday.
Yes.
And we will normally shoot in any kind of weather, but it was like monsoon, Noah's Ark.
It was torrential rainfall where you couldn't really go outside, like you said. It was Noah's Ark. Flooding and thunderstorms and lightning, and so we couldn't have our equipment out here.
My hair wouldn't have done it. That just wouldn't have happened.
Felt like we couldn't perform our best with all that rain. Now again, like you said, most times it really doesn't matter.
Well, you've had me out here in the rain before.
We've had it out in the rain.
Yesterday was lightning too.
Yes,
so
we've been out in the snow. We obviously
we're always in the heat.
Be out in the heat, exactly. So that's just kind of part of our deal here, but. We are going to be talking about the NBA, and as we talked about last show on Tuesday, we said that we would be done with the NBA, but I don't know what I was thinking by saying that because it's the off season, and so there are going to be trades and hirings and firings and more things to come and more headlines. So we are not done talking about the NBA.
Well, let me make an apology to the Cavaliers because I call them the Cleveland Dramaleers. It's not really their fault. Because instead of it being the NBA, it should be the NDA, the National Drama Association. Because it's not just the Cavaliers. It's the whole thing.
That's very true.
The Knicks have been the kings of drama all season.
That's true.
Right up to this week.
Yeah, it's been crazy. The Knicks have been a mess for years now. And they thought that by hiring Phil Jackson, James Dolan is not a good owner. He is a mess. Rumors of him being an alcoholic and a gambler and all these other things. I don't know the man personally, so I'm not trying to challenge his character.
Yeah, but we saw him act out and throw out
Charles Oakley. Well, before Charles Oakley, he felt like hiring Phil Jackson would be a get-rich-quick scheme, basically.
Right.
Here's a Band-Aid to try to right the ship for the Knicks. The Knicks are historic, one of the all-time great franchises in athletics ever. Just one of the best professional sports teams in history.
Even if you know nothing about basketball, you say the Knicks and people know that.
And you know it's just an iconic brand. It's an iconic team in the city of New York, right there in Madison Square Garden. It's a great program, great franchise. It's a great team. Well, James Dolan has been the owner for quite some time now.
Didn't he inherit it from his dad, though?
He did. He's just a rich kid that just has got money. Okay, he owns like half of New York somehow, but that's to his dad. Anyways, he felt like Phil Jackson would be a great hire to kind of get them over the bridge, and it has not worked out. Now, Phil did not want to be a New York Knick as far as a front office guy. He said he wants to be involved in basketball, but he doesn't want to coach. He got 6 rings with MJ. He got 5 rings with Kobe. He doesn't need any more rings necessarily.
Right.
And then he's got a couple rings as a player himself with the Knicks when he played.
He's got more rings than he has fingers.
Exactly.
Really.
He's totally fine. He's good. The big thing now is that he said, look, I want to take a step back and I want to be in the front office. I want to help call some of the shots, not down on the court, but up in the box, which is fine.
Yeah.
He's got plenty of cachet to do that. Well, the Knicks hired him to be the general manager and to kind of oversee the player development things. And kind of run things in that regard, but kind of be a coach, but not really a coach.
Wasn't he like the president of basketball
Yes,
operations?
exactly. He had a couple different titles, but the point is it didn't really work out because he didn't want to be there. And so when you don't want to be, think about it, if you don't want to be somewhere and you're asked to do a job, you're probably not going to give it your all, are you?
Think about making your kids sing a solo at church. Yes, it's a solo, it's a big deal, but they don't want to be there.
Exactly.
So they're up there. And you're sitting there embarrassed, like doing.
Now you get mad at them because they're not performing.
And guess what? It doesn't go well. And that's what happened with the Knicks. It just didn't go well.
It didn't go well. It's been a disaster. And then, like we mentioned, the Charles Oakley incident this season,
which was an embarrassment.
Charles Oakley's a Hall of Fame basketball player. He's a great guy as far as what he brings to the court. There's been some speculation of his character, but I happen to think he's a pretty good guy.
At the end of the day, Phil Jackson had to get on the phone with Michael Jordan. I mean, it was just the whole thing with the Knicks this year was just a mess.
It's been outrageous. And James Dolan has had some racism things that have been said about him as well. It's just been a mess. So Phil Jackson and James Dolan decided, let's just part ways. And he didn't quit. Phil Jackson didn't quit because if he would have quit, then he wouldn't get the the paycheck. But if they just say, hey, I'm gonna step down, or we're gonna go a different direction, he still gets paid, and he gets to move on with his life.
So basically, he did kind of get fired.
He kind of got fired, but you know, he still is getting paid. So
I would prefer to be fired, to be honest. Yeah. On the one hand, my pride was like, I always want to say, I quit you.
Yeah, exactly.
But if my paycheck's involved, it's like, go ahead and fire me and pay me.
He's getting a hefty paycheck. So yeah. Phil and the Knicks have parted ways, and we don't know what's going to happen with Phil. He can do anything he wants to because he's Phil Jackson. He might take a year-long vacation. I don't know, but I like Phil Jackson.
Hey, Phil should come on the deck.
Hey, I would love
Phil Jackson, come on the deck. Come to Kansas City.
Come to Kansas City. Be a special guest on us.
We'll get you some good barbecue.
Friends Friday.
Friends Friday.
We'll get you some Gates or some Joe's Kansas City barbecue, and have a good old time.
Bryant's.
Some Arthur Bryant's, exactly, whatever you want. So if you see this, come see us. Speaking of being let go or trading or getting put on a different team.
Why don't we just say drama? Because the NBA just drama.
Right,
they
exactly.
just won't go away. The offseason just not happening.
There's a ton of headlines. CP3, Chris Paul, is now with the Rockets. There was a trade for Chris Paul, who was with the Clippers for the last few years now. He is now a Houston Rocket. What are your thoughts on him being a Houston Rocket just in general?
There is a song that the Peanuts gang sings. Lucy sings it. It's called Failure Face. She sings it to Charlie Brown. And basically the hook is Failure Face. I think this is a disaster in the making. Everyone is singing the praises. Oh, great. Blah. By the way, I love CP3.
Right.
I love the Rockets. The Rockets coach, is it Mike or Mark D'Antoni?
Mike D'Antoni.
Mike D'Antoni just won Coach of the Year. James Harden. It's great. You're going to have a left-handed and a right-handed point guard ball hog on the same team. Someone tell me how that's going to work.
I don't know. And I felt like their offense worked well without a point guard in CP3. I felt like they just needed to play better in the playoffs.
So is James Harden then going to just move to a shooting guard?
I have no idea.
Please. The man was in the MVP race trying to keep up with Russell Westbrook. I'm not calling him a ball hog. He's a ball hog.
He's a ball hog. And there are guys that are ball dominant in the league, and Russell Westbrook's one of them. Yeah. James Harden is one of them.
Yep.
CP3 is one of them.
Yep.
There are guys out there.
Isaiah Thomas.
You can even say Kobe Bryant was one. You know.
And listen, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. When you need to be the guy, being the floor general, being the quarterback. The quarterback in football has the ball every time.
Exactly.
The point guard in basketball has to have the ball.
Yes.
You've got two of them.
Yes.
Un, dos.
Yes.
And they're a righty and a lefty. Which one of them's going to move out to become a shooting guard? Yeah. I guess it has to be Harden because CP3 isn't really a shooting guy.
So we will see. That's pretty big news because I felt like the Clippers needed to just tighten it up. If they just had a healthy season, as we've talked about, they actually could make a run. But they felt like CP3 wanted to leave. He wanted to get out and try something new before his great career ended. And so he's now a Houston Rocket. And speaking of all-stars or superstars moving on, back to New York with Carmelo. All the trade rumors and talks for him over the last few years, he's had the no-trade clause.
Yes.
I feel like that's probably going to be lifted now. And then there's D. Wade, who opted out of his last deal with the Bulls. He has to give some of that money back, actually. It was like $23 million or something like that. Huge contract. But they were willing to, go all in for him. Jimmy Butler's now with the T-Wolves, and so it's kind of like, hey, we're going to start. If you're the Bulls, you're just starting fresh.
And KD opted out of his so he could take less money to try to keep Iguodala and other people on the desk. It's just, again, the NBA will not go away. It's just drama. NDA. The National Drama Association is just going to go all summer.
Well, so Carmelo, make your choice. I know you're talking about going to Cleveland. I don't know if that's necessarily the best move for you.
That's a whole nother show.
We'll continue on with that, and we'll keep up with the headlines as well, as there's going to be a lot more
NBA all
as the NBA offseason's kicked off, and there's going to be trades and releases and people getting cut and new guys getting added. So
Blake Griffin.
Yeah, hey, we'll see what happens. Yep. We'll see you again, folks. Thanks for watching.
Friday.
Happy Friday.